Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 248, and today we're doing battle with Gwen Katarina, or Red Gwen, as we like to say. And so, this deck, I love the history with this deck. It just turned out as a meme, right? This is something that once the Eternal Dancers were announced, people kind of realized, oh, hey, you can play the Eternal Dancers in conjunction with Ruined Reckoner and get infinite attacks each turn, right? You kill off the Ruined Reckoner, then you have the Eternal Dancers attack. It's going to resurface a Ruined Reckoner. That's going to put the Midnight Raid in your hand. You use the Midnight Raid to give a free attack with your Eternal Dancers, which brings back a Ruined Reckoner, and that cycle continues. It was not something serious right as the set was released. It was just something to people who were like, LOL, I want to make a YouTube video with this and get some internet points and then just move on to the next thing. But it turns out this entire cycle of playing the hallowed units tied in with all of these free attacks, with the then overwhelms that you get with the fallen reckoners and the multi attacks that you get out of Katarina. It's just all tied together into being this really nice set of synergies. And we had a very real deck emerge from the ashes of memehood, if you will. And so it's something that's most certainly been on the radar for the past few months. It was one of the more heavily played decks in Worlds, and it's one of those decks that I really like because it's what I would kind of call an aggro deck with reach. It's not quite there. It's not quite as much into the lands of aggro as I enjoy, but I do really like having these decks that have a nice and powerful early game that do have some of those ways towards the end to just go, oops, I win. And this deck certainly has those capabilities with the likes of the Harrowing and then that Eternal Dancers combo, the Eternal Dancers pulling back Katarina, just getting loads of attacks in with Gwens. It has a lot of stuff going for it. And so, as the World Ender was released, this deck did get a new addition. The Redeemed Prodigy is the new early game bro that has been added to the deck, and it's a card that I have come to love and enjoy. It's a surprising amount of stats that you actually get out of this unit, right? I'm really surprised that it was actually printed as a 2/2, given that you make your attack and you've got 7 stats of unit on the board, and 1 point of those stats is going to be kind of permanent, as the Ghastly Band gives us a Hallowed to kind of come back again within the future. And so he's been a very powerful addition to the deck. I've been quite happy with the usages of the Redeemed Prodigy. And then, not too much else released out of the World Ender. There's been the Noxan Pigeon, which I have not been a fan of in this deck. It does work with the Redeemed Prodigy, given that you can get that one early attack, but I haven't been happy with it otherwise. And then not too many other Shadow Isles offerings. They were kind of deck specific, as the Ghastly Band cards kind of are, but the other cards didn't really apply and fit in here. But, it's a deck that I really love and enjoy. The only other kind of oddities that we're bringing these days is we're starting to see the likes of Rune Squire and some of the Reforged units make their way into this deck. The challengers are pretty fantastic when you're playing with the Hallowed theme, given that you might come out and have, say, 2 Hallowed, and then be able to use the Rune Squire to hook in a Vein, right? You can get some very powerful attacks with these challengers mixed together with the with the Hallowed ability, and then the Reforged tokens are always just a nice little bit of value, whether or not that is giving Gwen some bonus attacks so she can attack more safely, or if it's a matter of just putting quick attack on a unit that you don't want to die that early. Very powerful things that you can get happening with this. And so, last but not least, we are playing the singleton copy of Hapless Aristocrat. This is not something that you see a ton of, but as we've kind of found our way into this board width kind of format, I just wanted to have a little bit of a survivability bonus with this deck. And so, the Hapless Aristocrat, along with the single copy of Opulent Foyer, give us a little bit of grinding power against what is a lot of really go wide style of decks with so many champion strengths running around. And so, this is the deck. This is what we'll be doing battle with today. Let's go ahead and do what we got to do. We got to pay that pay-to-win price. And where you at, Redeemed Prodigy? We spent a bit of time talking about you. You deserve the pay-to-win treatment. We are good to go. I think this whole deck's premium except for the Eternal Dancers. Yeah, we're looking pretty good there. Oh, the Foyer as well. Yeah, make me a liar. Make me a liar, game. But let's jump on into battle. Things go well enough, we might jump into Masters here with these. We'll see. You never know. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. I'm not in a hurry. we'll, we'll get there eventually. All right. Zoe Kale tied in with the lands of Noxus. Interesting. So here, I think maybe we hang on to the Katarina. She's like a bit too slow. If we were on the odd attacks, I'd feel a little bit better about it. Just going up against a Zoe deck, right? If the opponent plays Zoe on turn 1, it's nice to have an answer to that Zoe. Katarina can do it when she generates the Blade's Edge, but since we're on the even attacks, the opponent would have the opportunity to just open attack on turn 3, and then use that to, kind of void a little bit of the Katarina work. Got it. And this was kind of an interesting turn. I'm not entirely certain who I prefer here, be it the Butler or the Redeemed Prodigy. Again, as I talk about a lot in our more Noxan heavy style videos, I feel like if you're in this kind of space and you don't know what to do, just make the play that does more damage. And so I wasn't exactly certain if I wanted the Butler or if I wanted the Redeemed Prodigy, but having the opportunity to do 4 damage instead of 3, that's the one I went with. All right, now I'm curious about this deck's ability to handle a Katarina. I'd like to just go ahead and get her going here if possible. Not going exactly how I want. I was looking to get a Ravenous Flock, but we can still at least have a fairly positive combat here with some of these Blade's Edges. Isn't that right, Kitty? You meowing? We got Kitty up here. He says, "What up, Internet? I like the Blade's Edge too." Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But alright, this has been an interesting set of cards. He's playing Zoe and Kale, done nothing to boost the attack of any of his units, or I'm not entirely certain what his angle is, what his game plan is here, but I'm sure it'll start to pop up here quickly. What you got for us, Broheim? All right, we can get the Butler in. We need to just be a little bit defensive. If we get just a little bit more time, we can always just crush these games with the Harrowing. And so I'm A-okay in that sense. Let's just come in and prevent as much damage as we can. If we lose our Katarina, it's not awesome, right? He could come in with Pale Cascades or any number of combat tricks, but I'm not really in a space to just not be attacking with her. And then getting the follow-up attacks a couple of turns from now with the Harrowing is going to be fine. The downside is she isn't flipped, and so if she was flipped, we could have looked to play the Harrowing on our opponent's turn, but not quite available here. Ooh. All right. I'm going to say Gwen was a pretty reasonable draw. I'm pretty confident that if we can just get to our next turn, we'll win the game with the Harrowing. And so it was going to be kind of nice to gain just a couple of points of health, try and put us a little bit out of reach. Since we only get to play 1 card this turn, it would be nice if that 1 card was a little bit more defensive for us, but we may be okay here. Opponent's only got 1 card and a star chart in hand, and so they're looking fairly far away from a lethal. And then if they're wanting to play another Reveler's attack zone, whatever that thing is called, then they're going to have to kill off a unit. Not quite the case with the Winged Messenger coming down, but if the Reveler's attack zone does come in, it's a little worse now with this Winged Messenger hitting the board. All right, well, we're getting blocks in and stuff. That makes me feel okay. We are still dead to that 1 card, but yeah. Oh, no, we're not. He's 1 short. Okay. Interesting. I'm curious if he messed that up in the sense that he could have put the spell onto his elusive guy and then been able to come in that way. But We'll see. We're resummoning a really high-powered board. We've got the Gwen for some heal. We've got the can't block bro to turn off the Imperial Demolitionist. Pretty strong. Crescent Strike is a absolutely perfect addition. Looks like we still got an Exacties lethal out here, though. Alright. Oof, good job, Harrowing. Seems like everything in that game went wrong, and we still managed to pull off a victory, and so good stuff. At least we got to show off a lot of the combos and the newer stuff in this. I'm pleased. I'm happy. Good job, deck. GG. All right, next battle. Oh shit, gotta fix this. Gotta get that record updated. Hold down a victory. You deserve it, my man. All right, excellent. On to the match. Nobody's playing today. Everybody's out there getting ready for the holidays, getting the last of their Christmas shopping in, turning on Jingle All the Way, finding out what happens if you don't shop early. It's tough. I got all mine done. Don't worry about me. I got all that shit done on Black Friday. All right, though. On to Action Varus. Let's see how it goes. Reasonable enough start. I'm not the hugest fan of Ravenous Flock here. It's just like the sizing of the units in this deck tend to be so small that you don't end up with too many units that just have damage on it. So you kind of find yourselves needing to, like if you're wanting to like take down something big, you need to just be ready with a point of damage. But like Action and the Predict unit and all of their early game stuff tends to just tends to just die to these combats anyways. All right, big stuff happening here, though. Opponent's doing a big nothing burger. I think we'd drop the Foyer here instead of the Squire. You could, get some, like, really big tempo-style plays here, right? Given that the opponent hasn't done anything up to this point, but this is, like, a pretty heavy board to try and get involved with. And we could still come in on this follow-up turn with the Vile Feast. And so, like, if, you really want to high roll and see if you can hit, like, a +2 attack for the Rune Squire there, then by all means go for it. But, it strikes me as being a little greedy. How do we want to handle this follow-up turn? No. I would like to throw a unit in front of the Defector. It's like if we add Gwen now, she's just going to be, like, at risk of getting popped by some kind of like strike card. He can't do it right now. He can't Gatling strike whatever with a Gatling gun, whatever the spell from Action is called. But we'll see if we can't at least take some of this stuff down beforehand. We did hit the +2 attack with the fragment. Interesting. We need to be, popping off the spell right now. You could arguably say, well, I'm just going to sit back and wait till he lucky finds. I'm going to take that value away from him. But there's a lot of bad hits there. If he hits +2 health or if he hits a spell shield and we still have that Defector sitting on the board, we're really going to be regretting it. And so I feel pretty good about coming in and then just taking that unit away, letting him put it onto the smaller thing, which we are kind of ready to hook in anyways with the Rune Squire. Have this +2 attack fragment. Not going to use it. Here's where the question's going to come in, right? Looks like we're getting a 5 attack unit. We're getting +3 attack from the Halloweds. Oh shit, that's just a lethal. Look at that. Do we want to boost anything else here? He can't Concerted Strike. This thing doesn't have an equipment on it. I'm going to go ahead and just go for the Gwen thing. The Gwen level up. He can, like, Quicksand out of this, but, I mean, you're going to be so far behind if you're dropping Quicksands in here. Oh, forgot about the Unforgiving Cold. That was a little less ideal, but still lets us take down the Vagabond. That was the card slipping my mind. I was like, how's he going to interact here? This game should just be done. All right, well, we'll try something nasty again next turn. You know how I like to do it. Nasty. That's the way I like to do it. Now, we do have to worry on this upcoming turn about a cultist strike, right? Being able to come in and hit for with the equipped unit. Didn't come to matter. We cruised through that one with opponent's awkward draw, but another turn of no guaranteed lethals. All right, good stuff. Next battle. Mark them all a W for bust. That's what we want. That's what we need. Feeling good about it. So yeah, I got my Christmas shopping all done. I didn't get to the good stuff. Like I felt really proud of one of the presents I got my brother last year or the year before. I've seen him like advertised on TV now. You see him on football season, but you get like this pair of gloves, and it has like lights on it, and so I always advertise the headlamp on my channel. I tell you, you guys get old, you have to start buying tools and shit. The best $5 investment you're going to be making is in a headlamp. You just go underneath a cabinet or whatever. You've got your hands all up here doing shit, but you don't have any hands left to hold on to the. You don't have any hands, to hold on to the light. The headlamp comes in and solves your problems there. But now they make these gloves, right? They've got these gloves that have lights attached to them. I got my brother a pair of those because, I'm a child pretty much. He seemed to dig him. He seems to like him. His kids like him too, and so I guess that was kind of a perk of the purchase. But getting things done. All right, let's see how this goes. We've shut down most of the stuff that he's doing here. Oops. Oh, interesting. I was like, that turned into a turn that like I didn't want it to play out like this. I had this big plan to Vile Feast his unit, and then he hooked it into combat, and I was like, ew, that is not intended. That is not what I wanted. But got out of it. Let's just go ahead and spend all the mana. Like, it's gonna be tough for us next turn to find a full way to deal with all of this. We're probably not going to be able to play 2 cards, but I don't want it to be kind of going like back and forth, right? I don't want to play the Quietus now, and then opponent plays a card. Then we play Rune Squire, and opponent plays a card. I'd like to just limit them to 1 card right here if we can before we attack. Missed out on the good ones, but that's okay. We'll threaten down this this vein to the best of our abilities.
Nothing gets between me and my mark.
And now the Gwen. Well, I don't want to put the Fallen Reckoner onto the bird and then have it just blow up. I'm surprised he didn't just attack with Quinn. That works for me. Now we can Reckoner Vein. Maybe find ourselves with a block here. He seems really scared of a Ravenous Flock, and so maybe he doesn't attack with Quinn and only attacks with Vein or something. I'd be okay with all of that. Interesting. But, I mean, the scary thing here is we are following a little bit behind. What we're going to have to look to do this game is to win with the Harrowing. And so, good to come in and just prevent some damage here. If we can get some good attacks in on this upcoming turn and get him scared, that would be kind of cool. Katarina turns up. Always interesting. Feels like he has like a concerted strike or a strike card he was thinking about on the last turn. It felt kind of like a fish fight, more so than a concerted strike. It seemed like he was kind of awkward in his ability to play it, but we'll see. Gotta make sure we're not just getting straight up lethaled by this Gwen. We aren't. So my fresh concern, my new concern is if we would have needed to just play the Harrowing next turn. We don't have a ton of just dudes to put on the board, right? We're just going to get opened on here now. Oh boy, that was tough. Forgot he still had his scout attack. Ew. Alright, GG. That was a little sloppy. But we were taking issue with the size of his units. But the reason I'm playing Gwen Katarina today is I want to get some more reps in with it. It's not a deck I've played an absolute ton, but I do plan on bringing it to that tournament tomorrow. And so my intent with that is we're going to play Vayne, or we're going to ban Vayne if she turns up. I don't feel like any of the Vayne matchups are particularly good, and I haven't played much Vayne to feel like I have a real grasp on what's super strong against her. It's like we ran into this timeline to where Vayne got really popular when what's her name was popular, the name that shall not be spoken, Seraphine, and that just didn't get in a ton of reps during that time period, and so looking to just ban it and then play scouts. It's always a terrible matchup for scouts, so I feel a little bit better with it removed from the equation there. But yeah, this deck scouts and then the Jinx champion strength deck. All right, reasonable stuff though. You don't see too many Nasus these days. Good to see the old dog back here in his glory, doing his thing. It's like I want to add Katarina, but that feels a little dangerous. It seems like I'm gonna just walk into a vengeance. What? Having them keep passing on these turns feels like a win. Use this play even this turn. If it's just Kindred, I don't care. We still got this Glimpse from Beyond if he wants to come in. I don't know, Vile Feast one of our smaller units and then use that to pick up a Kindred pop, whatever that is called. I think I'm okay with that. Okay. So no damage, but an opponent basically 2-for-1 themselves to take a 3-1 unit off of the board. That feels like it was a pretty productive turn. Ask me if I'm complaining. No, I'm not. I'm not. Oof. Friend. Ooh, we got a proper emote in here. Feels kind of BM to throw that one down, but is what it is, you know? Is what it is. And a black spear into Gwen. Okay. Alright. Still get a very healthy chunk of damage in this round, coming in for 6 off of the free attack. All right, we've got this Katarina in hand. That's going to be the next angle. I want to get good usage out of this Fallen Reckoner, but opponent's not going to play units that can block. It kind of takes that angle away from us. Let's do this. Unfortunate to send the big boy in as our hallowed play, but he doesn't die to Vile Feast. He doesn't die to Hate Spike. So He's our safest unit to be sending in. And then, you know, at the end of the day, if he has to kill off that big unit and not kill off Katarina, then we've probably got the victory anyways. I mean, dude had a shit tier draw there, and so that feels like a matchup that should be more reasonably tuned to do well against a deck with just a ton of 1 health units in it. And so if you're in that spot to where you're passing on the 3rd turn with no plays, then something typically has gone quite wrong with your draw. But we achieved victory. That's all that matters, man. Doesn't matter if you have fun. Doesn't matter if you learned anything. Just get a victory, right? Oh, what a shitty outlook. What a shitty mindset. Alright, what are we doing here? Back up against the Aatrox Vein. Happy enough to hang on to Vile Feast. I'm not, like, amped about these 4-cost units when we're on the even or the odd attacks. It's going to be turn 5 before they get to come down, and so we'll send them away and look for some other cheaper bros. Redeemed Prodigy's a nice addition. You are a delightful cheap bro, my friend. Alright, are you gonna have the equipment? That shit's annoying if you do. A bird. Alright. We can manage a bird. Let's just go big. Now, do we get the opportunity to open, or are we gonna worry about an equipment? The equipment is just so good on the Steadfast Elkin, but I think we need to kind of like look towards building up and growing. Maybe we do just put a Redeemed Prodigy in. Try and save the Butler for next turn. It's not like he's going to hit it with a spell. But, right, if he drops an equipment onto the Broadwing, then we have a real problem with this turn. But it does build up this Hallowed count for an upcoming turn. Maybe we'll get something something nice happening in the future.
What's that noise?
Get in there, bruh. Get in there, Spiderling. You to do your best. Block.
Please, I have connections.
Okay, see if we can't turn this around just a little bit. This is the downside to being like, yeah, maybe I will just mulligan away the Gwen. You're just getting completely shut down by all of these Elkin. Interesting he didn't replay it. Why wouldn't he just come in and replay it? I mean, I guess our open attack isn't that scary, but I mean, our hand is just dog shit at this point. Alright, let's see if this achieves anything. He's got a burn... if he's got a combat trick, this is going to be fairly bad, but... You know, we're in a spot where we got to have something go right. And it is not. It is not going right. But we can at least still build up some time, right? He's limited here. He's only got 2 cards in his hand. And so we can look to stall this out a little bit. Maybe pick up some big combo cards. Get some can't block stuff. You know, we got you know, a bit of board stall here with our Spiderlings and our Sentry. So he's not quite to the point to where he's just going to go, LOL, it's a Darken. Alright, he's only got 1 card in hand. And the kind of bummer for an opponent at this point is, you know, these aren't in hand, right? So we have to make the decision now if we want to actually Ravenous Flock down this Elkin, because that's going to put Big Dum Dum in his hand, and he's going to be able to just play it. So I think we let them just stay on board. And then start digging. The Harrowing's the kind of card that can come in and give us the win. That's what we're looking for.
Let the bloodshed begin.
Okay. Not awesome, but it does kill off the Katarina. If you play the Harrowing into a board like this, you do get the Katarina back, and then when she strikes, she doesn't die for being ephemeral. She comes back to your hand. And so don't feel like we're quite in a spot to drop her next turn. Like, I don't want to be Harrowing on this next turn. We could have passed on playing the spell and had the 10 mana for it. It doesn't feel like that's going to be a very good one. We're going to be returning a bunch of very small plays. I'd like to give ourselves a chance to pick up something just a little bit bigger. Opponent should have trouble killing us on this upcoming turn. And Aatrox comes in. So he's gonna be world ending next turn. I think it's okay. I mean, he doesn't have Overwhelms out here. Let's at least go ahead and take down this Dum Dum while we can. He is gonna have the Aatrox Overwhelm. But just the one. What you got, game? Something good? Not really what we were looking for. It is cool to take down Aatrox if we can, but I don't even feel like we have enough stats on board at this point. Only a 10. Can block a 3. Okay. Oh, he's gonna get to Harazian here. Well, we can still just take 10 for Aatrox and not die. Our graveyard isn't strong enough, though. That's what the real problem's going to be. Let's do it like this. You know, I guess we don't. I'm thinking of like of this magical. This magical Harrowing that we're going to get this next turn, and I'm wanting to put damage onto Harazi so when our Overwhelms come in, we're able to do something with it, but that hand was just nowhere capable of doing it. So, man, that was kind of a bummer. Opponent's draw was just complete garbage, but we were just like one unit away from being able to pop off there, and so kind of is what it is. But yeah, that's certainly the matchup we're going to be looking to remove from our opponent is the Vayne deck. I'm not sure how people stand in terms of best of 3 lineups with Aatrox. Like, if you want to play Aatrox Vayne, that's the deck I would absolutely love to remove if we're going to look to play decks like this in Scouts. But I'm not sure if those get split up to where you play Vayne with something else and then play Aatrox Kayn. Be interesting to see. All right, though. Kind of the same deal that we run into with the other deck. There's just not a lot in this early game that I want to be hitting with the Ravenous Flock. I'll hang on to the Quietus and the Vile Feast just to have a little bit of interactivity, but we need to be coming up with good units here. And so Quietus is always a great start. Vile Feast shuts down a lot of early stuff, gets their bird style bros. But all right. I start to think here, and it's like the card to worry about out of this is Quietus, right? We do not want this dum-dum getting in a strike. And so we can add the Reckoner. He can survive a Quietus. If he's got group shot, then, good job, I guess. But that plays around the most amount of stuff. Then it leaves us with the 2 units back, so we could have ideally either, won that combat or had him just sit back, and then we get to add the 2 dudes this turn.
We shall sing, dance, and forget our woes.
But he had the one mana removal. You know what they say. It is what it is. He's got the Quietus as well. He's got it all today. We'll just stop right here. I don't want to be trading the Prodigy for the Conchologist. We need to get like a little bit of value out of our stuff here, and that trade's just not quite good enough. I'll trade the Redeemed Prodigy for the Catalyzer, but when we have this Katarina double Vial Feast hand, looking down a Conchologist, we don't want to be trading off one of our real units. I am okay to just give up on Blade's Edge, though. That's not that big of a deal. For us to be able to open, like, he can't play a Darkness here, right? It's too expensive by 1 mana. So if he's going to kill Katarina, he's going to need 2 spells to do it. I think that's okay. Need to get that strike. We want to get our Katarinas bumping. Okay. So now we can still get the rallies out of her and stuff, even if he's got the darknesses and the backup here. A little bit safer with Katarina. All right, and there's a target for you if you want to darkness a dude. The boisterous host is ready. He says, "Give me a taste. Give me a little bit of that something something." I'm pretty sure that's what he says. I may be off, but I think it's what he says. Give me a little bit of that something something. Wow. Okay. He is not ready to lose his Spiderling. Thinking big, thinking hard. Do I want to drop my darkness? This is the big thing that we get to have going with the deck is the hallowed stuff, right? As you're up against these control decks, the typical problem you would run into against control decks is they get to trade all their removal spells 1 for 1, and then we're at the end of the game drawing our cheap bros like Spiderlings, and then opponent gets to play their more expensive cards. But with the hallowed, turning every unit into our deck into a real unit gives you lots of power against these guys. So, under typical situations with how our board looks right now, he'd get to drop the darkness on our 4/3 and then just be like, wow, your units all suck. I don't care about any of this. But the hallowed adds in so much damage. Okay. That's pretty big. Now here, I could see an argument for putting the damage boost onto our hallowed unit, because I'm actually surprised he didn't come in and block with the junk construct. But if we want to try and keep the Spiderling on board for a future turn, we can give up that point of damage to try and keep our physical units around. But I think we're going to be okay in that sense. I don't think we need to quite worry about those coming in. So here I don't want to deal with the Spiderling. I think it's okay to take care of the Junk Construct. We're going to start running out of space on our board, right? If we're going to get the Redeemed Prodigy and the second Fallen Reckoner on board, we have to worry about that a little bit. Now, if opponent comes in here and spends too much mana, we can just kill him with Katarina, right? We can look to rally. Our rally does give us a opulent foyer token, and then we have lots of power to just run in here with. But with opponent having 6 mana here, or whatever, 10 mana, feels like he's going to have enough opportunities to try and shut that big play down.
The elements bind the living and the dead.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll just say that guy can't block, right? that's the kind of standard angle when an Ixtali comes down. You say, well, maybe you just can't block. We don't worry about the lifesteal. GG. Market a W for bust. Okay, next battle. What do we got? See if it's a little bit more vain. Had my fill of vain for the day. She makes it more challenging for us to climb into masters, right? We need those easy matchups. Or we need the game to break. What's happening? Do we need to restart? Oh, the button's back. Maybe it'll work. That opponent was probably playing Vayne. Somebody at Riot said, "Nah, he's played enough, you know. He's got 2 Vayne games for this video. Let's find him a little something else." Let's try again. Try again, I guess. You turn it off, you turn it back on. The problem is you're supposed to wait 30 seconds, right? You turn it off, you wait 30 seconds, and you turn it back on. That's how you get it to work. Let's see if it worked. Oh, right, the mirror match. This is kind of why I worry about a little bit about playing this deck in a tournament setup. Is that I wish I had a lot more experience with it. If you're the person that's just gonna play, say you're gonna play 10 games a day, every day of your life for the Legends of Runeterra, but you just play the same deck over and over again, you're gonna be a lot more fresh with the Ash Katarina deck than we are, to where kind of have to bob and weave a little bit in terms of playing different decks for the sake of making that sweet content. And so, it's tough. Life's hard. I didn't know it could be so hard, but it is, But that's what I do for you, and you're welcome. You are welcome. So, I think we're okay to just go ahead and get the Katarina going. Like, there's not a lot of good plays for opponent here. Like, he can come at her with a removal spell, right? There's a decent chance she's just dead here if he has this Vile Feast plus a thing. But, like, this is a fairly tough spot for opponent in the sense that they're not going to have all of this frequently, right? This Katarina is going to get to just attack very often. He had to specifically have that to do it. He could have had his, say, own Katarina, but that would have just put cards in his hand, and he wouldn't have had the time to prevent her from attacking. So, a little painful. We'll just draw another one, though. you know how it goes. I mean, if they're gonna be like that, you just come out and draw another one. As Kelly from The Office so famously says, Why are you the way that you are? Question. Is it why? I can't even remember. I can't remember if "Why are you the way that you are" was a Kelly quote or a Michael Scott one. I know that the Kelly one was also. Oh, it's going to slip me now. Now that I've started thinking about it. Oh, it's. I think it. I think it. I may mess it up a little bit, but it's like, Ryan, I have one question for you. Or first question, Ryan, how dare you? It's another delight from Kelly. But we're going to start booming here. Opponent didn't have a whole lot to do with their mana last turn. Now if he's going to play the foyer, we get to start blowing up the little blockers and everything. I think this is going to go pretty well for us. And if he doesn't have the answer to Katarina now, it's gonna be a struggle. It seems like he's just going to come in and play a 6-drop next turn or something, and we are very well positioned to deal with those nonsenses, those shenanigans. So I think we're good here. Right? He should have a tough time preventing us from winning. Even if he has the answer to Katarina, we get the rally and get to attack and stuff. Which I'm pretty stoked about. You can attack with your Katarina if you want, man. That's just super slow. Another cat trying to hang out. Come on, bud. You want to hang out? You want to get in the video while the animations are happening? But the thing here, opponent had the 2 mana last turn. I suspect they're just going to be too slow at this point now, right? We're going to get the additional attacker out of the Redeemed Prodigy. Gets to block one guy, Blades Edge one guy. But then we have, hopefully, enough stuff left over. Right, so if he gets to block our boisterous host, he's still taking 4. We got it. GG. I may not know everything about the mirror, but I do know that I won that game, and so that's all that matters. That's all that matters, right? Let's see if we can't take these 98 LPs up to 100 in our final game of the video. Oh shit. Cat's fighting back here. The white and black cat is not very nice. She does not like any of the other kitties living in the household, and so she tends to be a little bit of a bitch on occasion. Little bit of a bitch. But I'm interested to see how this goes. Pirates is one of those decks that, you think it's gone and then it turns right back up. He is playing Annie instead of playing Twisted Fate, which I'm curious if this is more of a mid-rangey number and focusing on the spells, but I don't know, man. If you're dropping Legion Rearguard, I have a hard time believing that story. And so, let's see. Let's see what happens. Mirai Warden comes in. He only gets 2 attackers for the turn. Okay. Let's still just come in and trade out everywhere we get the chance. We're going to be coming in with Redeemed Prodigy next turn. That'll give us 2 attackers. We'll have the Opulent Foyer 2 turns from now, so we'll have a fresh blocker out of it. See how that kind of style goes. The thing I don't really want is playing the Foyer on this turn, and then not having a blocker next turn. So right here, we're making this investment in the units, but we get to kind of come in and clean up the opponent's board a little bit. We're attacking with the foyer tokens, and we don't. So now here, this is a little bit different. We talk about this situation on occasion as to where, say we attack, right? We attack with our Redeemed Prodigy. Opponent comes in and starts blocking with stuff. They're going to be able to refill their board pretty easily, to where we are tapped out in mana now, right? We're done with the mana. We don't have enough to do anything, so we can't refill. So all I'm going to do is attack with the Phantom Butler, so opponent can't get just wider than us, so they can't be nearly as efficient with their mana. As it stands right now, I mean, he's probably just going to open attack on us. That's completely fine, but if he wants to add any more units to the board at this point, he's going to have to overwrite something, or if he wants to get Misfortune onto the board right now, he's going to have to overwrite something. All of that's pretty positive for the home squad. Alright, so we got to take a bit of damage. Not super awesome, but not the end of the world. Now we can add a foyer. Next turn we can add a butler and add a Katarina. We'll have a ghastly band to go along with the rest of the crew. And hopefully we'll get to clean out some more of this board. Oh boy. Well, I think I'm pretty happy the battle casters come down on the defensive turn and not the offensive turn. That strikes me as a little odd. Yeah, Rune Squire, you're gonna party. I worry a little bit here about getting popped by a Make It Rain. I'm not entirely certain if whatever this guy is doing is playing Make It Rain, right? I see the battle casters. I don't worry about it nearly as much, but let's at least give ourselves a touch of protection before we add this Rune Squire in. Interesting. Why is he just throwing away his battlecasters? The battlecasters are so much better than all of these other units. That's so weird. Quick attack. Nope. It's okay to call your shot. Oh. He shouldn't have any attack-based combat tricks, and so if he wants to ignore the ephemeral, let's let it slam in for maximum damage.
I'm one of the good guys, but not that good.
Alright, so we're definitely getting boomed next turn. Hopefully we can do a bit of surviving even without Gwen. Take a 7, fall to 9. Okay. Let's be mana efficient. Alright, decimate to 5. I wonder if we need to search for Gwen. Right, we do have like a handful of options here in the sense that we can overwhelm, and so we can play the Reckoner, get some bonus attack, and then overwhelm something else. But it feels like that's going to be a little short. Phantom Butler has a bit of evasion. Maybe that'll help. Who does this guy bring back right now? Katarina. Okay. The downside to Katarina being if we want to play the Blade Fragment, then we can't play the 1 damage ping. Big is this guy? 7 attack? That's too good. And then again, if you're not familiar with this sequence with the Katarina, the strike level up thing with her happens before the ephemeral does. And so attacking with Katarina here means that we get a Katarina back in our hand. Well, so far so lethal. Needs to move something in front of Katarina. He's taking... Well, I guess he's taking 3 from either one here on this Fallen Reckoner attack.
Don't get ahead of yourself. I know what I'm doing.
Does have a cheap spell from his Zap, which may be enough to get him out of the combat. So he's not dead. That's at least a bonus. Bonus for him. I don't know. I've been in worse spots, I think. Been in worse. Need that Blade's Edge. Katarina ready to come in. Say, give me the Blade's Edge mastery, please.
Keep up. No going back.
All right. Gonna go ahead and drop that on your nugget. GG. I don't know if there's a way that you need to sequence that a little bit differently. We still win the game, right? Say he draws the Nox and Fervor. We would prefer to like wait on him to play Nox and Fervor, play Decimate, then we put the Blade's Edge to the left of that. We still win the game in this spot, though, right? If he has the Nox and Fervor, he Nox and Fervors away a unit in the back line. We take 3, we get the kill, and then the Zap would deal damage later, right? The stack resolves and the opponent dies before the Zap deals damage. And so I guess it's still okay there. It's just if he had 2, I think we would end up losing the game there because we want our 1 damage to happen to the left of those spells, and so it may have just been a better play to let that combat happen and then attack back and wait on him to play a card so that we can get that to the left. The next level downside is if he has a Decimate, right? So he gets to play Decimate. We say, oh, fuck, I'm going to die. I play my card. And then he says, okay, LOL, I have the Nox and Fervor now. That's where he's able to get us. And so, I don't know. I don't have the 100% answer on that one, but I do have the answer on have we hit Masters yet? And we did. We rolled in. And so, not a bad day at the office, not a bad day in the lands of Runeterra. We are able to unlock the Masters feat right now. I don't think there's too many at this point. I think there's like 300 or 400. Oh man, we're almost exactly on 400, and so it's picked up a bit. It's picked up. Maybe there's almost 1,000. Who knows? Just under 500, and so Mado Ushi X, the worst of the Masters. But nonetheless, of course, everyone knows this is a good deck. It was well represented at Worlds. It's been around for quite a bit. I am looking to play this in our next video where we play in that Mastering Runeterra tournament. I think it's just a good fit. I'm not looking to take that event too seriously. I'm looking to just play good decks with cards I like, and I like this deck. I like the cards in it. Everybody knows I like to make an attack, and I like to have these big oops, I win cards like the Harrowing. And this has a lot of really neat angles in terms of punching and surprise damage. Has a lot of ways to what I like to call win games you don't deserve. As to where you just kind of get those really high-powered, off-the-wall kind of Timmy power gamer draws to where the Halloweds and the multi-attacks and everything are really popping off. And so, good stuff. I had fun with that. Hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so, hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.